Let's start in Austin. Vandy, Texas, noon Eastern, 11 Central kick on Saturday. This is strength against strength, John. This is the 10th ranked defense in the country. Texas, 14.6 points a game is all they're giving up. This is the 12th ranked offense in the country. Vandy scoring better than 38 points a game. Texas had to storm back to take care of Mississippi State last week. That was a week after an upset loss at Kentucky. Vandy ground out that win over Missouri, although the Tigers were without their starting quarterback for the bulk of that game. One interesting number here that I think is worth considering: Steve Sarkisian, 21-3 at home with the Horns since 2022. And this is their first true home game against a power conference opponent, John. They had the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma, which counted as a home game. But other than that, I think the last team they played at home was Sam Houston State. So does this give them a chance to sort of find their equilibrium going back to Austin and getting a Vandy team that, like I said, had to kind of grind out that win over Missouri?
Yeah, I mean, obviously what Vandy has done has just been, and Diego Pavia, I mean, it's been one of the greatest stories in college football. There is no question about that. What I would argue is that the majority of it has been in Nashville, right? I mean, which is true of a lot of teams. But I mean, they go to Alabama, they got handled at Alabama, beat LSU, which fired Brian Kelly a couple weeks later, and is now out of the top 25. And like you said, grinded it out against Missouri at home. I mean, I think it's a great story, but I think the market is probably, their sniffer is probably on the right track here with Texas. I mean, it's not a bet that I would like run to make, but my guess is directionally it will be correct. We're waiting on that breakout game from Arch. Maybe this is the week.
If he plays, that's like, or how well he plays, because the concussion protocol, right. I should say, it's how well. And that's the thing, it's always scary because, you're not usually, let's just look at the NFL. You're not usually in concussion protocol 48 hours before the game. You're either out of it, you're out of protocol, or you're not playing at that point. So, what happens there is still up in the air. I kind of agree with you, though. I mean, a lot of Vandy's, a lot of their numbers and a lot of their schedule has come at home. They did win at South Carolina. We all know how that team has been altered since then. They did win at Virginia Tech. We know what's gone on since then at Va-Tech. So I don't really know what to make of Vandy. I think Vandy clearly should be, I shouldn't say clearly, but they should be the underdog here. They probably should be the underdog of the remaining road games, the favorites of the remaining home games. That's the way it is for most teams. The road has become the great equalizer. They did not play well at Alabama. I don't know that the offense is going to play tremendous here. Texas has got a really good defense. I think the under, I could absolutely be talked into the under on this one as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my first look on this one, also sitting somewhere in the 45 to 46.5 range, especially with Texas's defense. I think they will be a big equalizer in this one. I think it does sit within a field goal either way. You made a good point, Choppy, about Vanderbilt having two big road games left, not just in Austin this weekend, but then the final week of the season, they go to Knoxville to take on your Vols. In between now and then, they got Auburn, a bye week in Kentucky. So there is the opportunity here for Vandy, and we'll get to playoff odds, like I said, in about 15 minutes or so. But there is an opportunity here for Vandy to make that final game of the year in Knoxville sort of a de facto playoff game, right? Winner is in, loser is out. We'll see what happens with Tennessee, and we'll get into them as they host Oklahoma here in just a minute. But this is a massive game for Vanderbilt to prove that they legit belong in this CFP conversation. Going to Austin as 2.5-point dogs. Again, might be a part of our best bets before we wrap up the show here in just a couple of minutes. Oklahoma, Tennessee, I just mentioned this game, John. This one has a total sitting somewhere in the 56 range, 55, 56. Tennessee's failed to hang at least 34 points just once, and that was on the road in Tuscaloosa 2 weeks ago. They're averaging better than 45.5 points a game. You can see why when you look at their early season non-conference schedule, but the offense has kept it up. Second most points in the FBS. This is the Oklahoma defense, though. Again, strength against strength in this matchup as well. Are they maybe the defensive version of Tennessee? Because that's what they're riding on right now. Everything is on the Sooners defense, especially since John Mateer has looked human at best the last couple of weeks since returning from hand surgery. Just 2 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. They all came in that first game back. But the big difference here, I think, John, the turnover differential. Oklahoma -6 this year. That's 117th in the country. Tennessee +5 is a top 25 mark in turnover differential. Maybe that's the difference. If John Mateer comes out and looks like himself again, like he did early in the season, that could be the key to Oklahoma upsetting Tennessee on the road in Knoxville. But it's a field goal game, and I think this goes the way of Tennessee's offense. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love the over. I do think this is just going to be a high octane game. I mean, I think Aguilar's shown that, you know, he's a legitimate passer in this offense. It's been a great fit between coach and quarterback, and I don't mind an Oklahoma fade. I mean, I really don't. I have not really been that impressed with them whatsoever the last couple of weeks. Maybe Mateer's coming back too early. You know, that performance against Texas was just downright embarrassing. You know, they were 5-6 point favorites against Ole Miss, so they seem like they are definitely trending in the wrong direction. So I don't mind a fade of Oklahoma here whatsoever either.
I am on the over as well. Look, Tennessee could score on just about anybody, especially at home. That they're a different track meet at home, but there are some 7-on-7 teams in Texas that could score on Tennessee's defense. That is the reality. That is an awful defense. You could throw on them all day. You could throw on Oklahoma's defense. You know, the back end, they stopped the run pretty well, but I think this thing has got a lot of points written all over. If this thing is not in the 60s total, I'd be surprised. You know, so I like the over this one. The side of this, I would probably lean Tennessee just because they're at home, but I never have any faith. You can't. I don't think you can trust either one of these teams, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it sets up interesting the schedule. I keep focusing on that because we will talk playoff numbers in the final segment here in a couple minutes. But Oklahoma is going to get a chance to lick their wounds a little bit, regardless of what happens in Knoxville. They'll get a bye week, but then congratulations, you get to go to Tuscaloosa and Alabama is rolling. And then they wrap up at home against Missouri and LSU. So, look, every game is a must-win for Oklahoma at this point if they want to stay in the playoff conversation. We'll see if their defense can carry them to it and if Mateer can look better. Tennessee, on the other hand, after this one, they'll get a bye week, and then it's New Mexico State at home before they go to Florida and then host Vanderbilt again in what may be a de facto win and you're in kind of game in the final week of the regular season for the Vols. Massive game in the Big 12 because the Big 12 is still wide open. This one will kick late around 10:15 Eastern, 8:15 Mountain Time. Let's give some love to the Mountain Time zone. Why not? Utah hosting Cincinnati, a massive game for the top of the Big 12. Utah, 5th in the country. They are averaging 267 yards a game on the ground. Looks like they're going to get Devin Dampier back for this one as well. They're scoring a ton. Top 15, I want to say 11th in the country, almost 39 points a game. Doing it really by converting a lot of third downs, 54%. Cincinnati can score as well, but they're just 128th, John, in time of possession. They count on a lot of big plays. Utah will do the exact opposite. They'll want to possess the ball, grind it out. I mentioned the rushing numbers. Total sits at 55.5, I believe it is, in that neighborhood. And Utah favored in this one. The home field advantage is a big one. We've talked about the altitude before. Anywhere from 8.5 all the way out to 10, John.
I like Cincinnati at 10. I mean, I know that there were a lot of sharps that played Utah 7, but 7 and 10 are two different numbers. I just like this Cincinnati offense. I do. I think they can find a way to – I know Utah is coming off that beat down in Colorado, but that Colorado program is an absolute disaster. I mean, it's been – you know, and I know there's a lot of stuff going on, health issues with Coach Prime and things like that, but they have not adjusted to the post-Shador era well at all. So I don't necessarily put a ton of stock into the margin in that one. I think the Cincinnati team is good. I mean, I like them in the Big 12. We talked about their odds last week. I like them as a long shot. I'll take the 10 here and kind of play my odds with that. I mean, I think they can find a way to, keep this close within one score. So I'm going to take the Bearcats in that offense.
Man, I don't hate the 10. I don't hate taking the 10 with Cincinnati. One thing that scares me though is that these Utah teams, man, when they get you at home, they boat race you. It is a sight to see. It really is. It doesn't matter if it's BYU or Utah. Hell, Utah State might even do it. I don't know. But it's that is one thing that would scare me and scare me away from taking a team. I don't know. I can't think of I don't think Cincinnati's been here like ever. So
nope.
It sounds like it just would be a complete new situation for them. So I would probably, I don't hate taking the 10 with Cincinnati, but if I was going to pick, I'd probably go the Utah route.
Yeah, it is the first ever meeting between these two programs. So the Bearcats have definitely never been out to Utah to face the Utes. I keep, again, referencing schedules after this one. It'll be a bye week for Utah. I don't know if there's a way they work, unless things get really squirrely with the top 4 teams in the Big 12. You got BYU and Cincy, both undefeated in conference. You got Texas Tech and Houston, each with 1 loss. I don't see Utah worming their way into the Big 12 championship game, but it's the Big 12. Literally anything can happen any given week, so nobody's really ever out of it, maybe. It still is, I think, a one-bid league, as I've mentioned a couple times this year. But an opportunity, I think, here for BYU, definitely, to Cincinnati to stake their claim as the team right there with BYU, and maybe those two end up bound for the Big 12 title game. Let's talk about that other one-bid league, because there is a game that I think is worth talking about in the ACC. It's a noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central kick between Miami and SMU. Canes favored anywhere from 10.5 to 12.5, depending on where you find it. Their defense has been suffocating this year, allowing just 270 total yards per game, only 87 on the ground, and only 14 points a week. SMU has struggled to run the ball. I don't imagine they get it going against Miami. They're coming off an ugly loss at Wake Forest. But the 3 weeks before that, they put up a total of 100 points against Syracuse, Stanford, and Clemson, for what it's worth. I don't know about you, John. I'm still trying to get over the 4 INT game for Carson Beck against Louisville and figure out if that was an apparition or if that's a sign maybe of things to come. Maybe it doesn't come against SMU, but they are on the road in this spot, Miami, trying to avoid another speed bump here on their way to presumably a playoff spot.
An apparition, like a ghost? You mean aberration?
Big words.
You mean
aberration? You mean aberration, not an apparition.
You don't mean apparition?
Did I say apparition?
Yeah, you said apparition, yeah. And it's Halloween. It is Halloween, man.
That's what I was doing.
Hey, he was seeing
trying to make a Halloween reference.
That's the.
Why don't you stop busting my balls and talk about the game, John?
There you go.
That's why. Hey, it's not easy to attempt big words on this show. All right, that's what happens. But no, he was seeing apparition. I got to
stop and consider whether you two are actually going to understand him or not, and then I get confused and use the wrong word anyway.
Blame the victim.
I'm not.
Blame the victim. But no, I mean, I actually, weirdly enough, watched the entire SMU Wake Forest game, and I think it might be the worst college football game I've ever seen. I mean, I honestly, just go look at the highlights. It'll be a 2-minute video. Neither team, I think there was like 8 combined turnovers. Neither team could score a touchdown. I mean, and you're talking about teams that were getting inside the 10-yard line and act like they, it's like their first time, maybe when your first time, you were putting it down, you didn't know what you were doing. That's how they looked. Right. And so look,
unfortunately, this didn't end as quickly as that did.
No, exactly. No, this continues against all odds. I can't take SMU. I can't take. They have no clue what they're doing. I'd have to lay it with Miami.
Yeah, you watched that whole game. Rhett Lashley did not watch that whole game. I guarantee you that. He turned the tape off.
Crazy,
dude. So Chris, you said this is maybe a one-bid league. If Miami like Miami's going to steal a bid here. Because if Virginia and Georgia Tech win out, they're going to go to the ACC championship game. And then Miami, what's going to be an 11-1 team that gets left out? Like, they're going to steal a bid. So, like, if you're a bubble Big Ten SEC team, you better hope Miami loses or Virginia loses. That's what you really need to hope for. Or Georgia Tech loses and loses again. So it could be squirrely for them, but SMU's not very good. Not very good right now. And that's surprising because this was a playoff team last year.